Brother J, Keon Unlimited. Change Your Address lecture series. Change Your Address is about living in a better place in your mind. It's about moving away from your pain. It's about moving away from your hurt. It's about not living in the bad circumstances. It's about not living in who people define you as. It's about defining yourself and begin to say, this is who I am and this is where I'm live. It's about not being a product of your environment, but being a product of your imagination. And so a friend of mine named Daniel, he works at a place with some youth. He wanted me to speak to the youth, but I think there was some issues. I don't know, because of my background. For those who don't know, I've been in prison. I was a gang member, a member of the Bloods. You know, grew up in Killer City, 68th Street. I want to speak to these young brothers. I want you to hear me clear. I want to talk to you young brothers. Because in that place, I was in group homes. I grew up in group homes and boys' homes, institutions, juvenile detention centers, and there was always people talking to me. They were always trying to tell me to get my life together. They was more or less addressing my behavior. But in my mind, I was like, these people don't even know nothing about my life. You know, my daddy's on heroin. He used to beat my mother. When I go back to where I live, I got to fight. My mother's struggling to make our bills. These people don't know nothing about my life. That stuff they tell me, that ain't gonna survive. I don't know how to translate that in the world I live in. I understand. And young people, sometimes you have to live with some hard things, man. Sometimes you have to struggle, and it's sort of like you got it locked in the back of your mind, and you feel so alone. So this is for you, because I come from you. I'm one of you, man. But I want to tell you, it is not the end. I want to help you and empower you and give you something I never had. Somebody to show me the way out. And I want to do it with a story, because I prayed and thought about this. And I thought about me being locked up. And one of the most hardest things I went through when I was young was in a place called Jackson County Detention Center. That's crazy. Because when I was thinking about being in boys' homes, I'll never forget that place. And I'll tell you why. And for those who may see this video when I post it, they're going to bear witness that I'm telling the truth. In Jackson County Detention Center, when they staff deemed you to be out of control, they had this place they call isolation. We called it the box, because that's exactly what it was. It was a dark room, no lights in there, no restroom. They just locked you in there for what they call a cool down period of 2 hours. Well, you got to understand, I went to detention, I was like 10, 11 years old. And so, me being locked in a dark room, and a lot of times the other people that were in that room before me, because there were no restrooms, they would urinate on the floor. They defecated on the floor. You know what I mean? They used the restroom on the floor both ways. So, and nobody cleaned this up probably once a week. So if you went to isolation, they took your shoes. You was walking in somebody's urination. If you wasn't careful, probably somebody's defecation. But one time this guy, because I was from a neighborhood, he was from another neighborhood. Our neighborhood was into it. And I was like 12. He was like 16. And he was like, man, I'm going to beat you up. You from over there, 68th Street. And I didn't know what to do. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. And so the only idea I could come up with was that I'm going to hit him with this chair if he come over here. Because I hit him with the chair, I know the guard's going to grab me and break up the fight. And he's way bigger than me. I didn't think I stood a chance fighting. So he rushed me when they was getting in line. I grabbed a chair and swung. And all the staff was seeing was me swinging this chair. So it went down that I just snapped out and swung this chair. So they put me in isolation. I'm 12 years old. They put me in a dark room with urine and fecal matter on the floor. And I'm like, no, don't put me in here. Please don't put me in here. And as they put me, my heart is beating. I just gotta get out of this room. I gotta get out of here, man. And all I could do to think of was to sit on the floor with both of my legs and just kick this door. Boom, 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 boom. I just kicking this door. And so the guard comes. I'm like, let me out of here, please, let me out of here. He like, the longer you kick that door, the longer you're gonna be in here. You're only supposed to be here in 2 hours. You kick that door, you're gonna be another 2 hours. I said, just let me out. I'll do anything. They wouldn't let me out. They shut the door, and I just couldn't sit there in that pee, and so I just kept kicking. Boom, 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 and the bottom of my feet got in. These are steel doors. The bottom of my feet are hurting, but I'm so mad because all I can think about is all my life, my pain, my dad on drugs, everything I done went through. And I'm using all my anger and my frustration and my pain to just give me more energy. And I just keep kicking. Boom, 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 all night. And it's, you can hear it through the whole building, me kicking this door. And so I kicked this door so long to where they came and got me out of there. They came and got me out. And every time I went locked up, I got locked up in isolation a few more times, but every time I would go, I would just sit on that. Sometimes they put me in there 4 hours and try to break me, but I kicked that door so hard. And I never could sit in there and just be quiet because I was 12 years old. But I thought about that, and I want y'all to think about that. I used my pain and my hurt. Even when my feet was hurting, I hated I was scared. I'd be crying, kicking that door. I used my pain and my hurt to give me the energy to keep kicking that door. And I thought about that when I was thinking about y'all. I think that was the beginning of the fighter in me. Because later on in life, when everything they told me in our school I had a learning disability. They told me I had a behavior disorder problem. They told my parents to put me on drugs. I had mental health issues. They gave me so many labels. Told me I had problems. Other people in my neighborhood told me I was going to end up in prison today. And I had all that stuff in my head. And so when I graduated, like everybody else was in the boys' institutions to prison, I was like, man, this is where this ends. Because I was looking at all my friends, all of us from the boys' home was in here. And some of them ended up with life sentences. Some of them are in there right now. Some of them became institutionalized. They get in and out. They do better in prison than they do on the streets. They don't even know how to function on the street. But I kicked that door. I said, man, this can't be it. Jay, this is not how my life is. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I watched my homies die. And now here I am in a prison. I'm finna spend the rest of my life. I said, nah. And so I had to kick the door again. It wasn't a physical door. It was the door of everything my circumstances had locked me in to be. My circumstances had told me, you a blood. You're gonna be in here, blood. So my homies in jail, we was in there gang banging, selling drugs. Fighting Crips. Taking drugs from other groups of dudes. But I decided, man, I'm tired of this. I want something different. I kicked that door. I want out. And so as a guy who was a school teacher, I didn't even have a GED. I didn't know where to start. I just knew I needed to learn something. So I told him, man, look, I'm gonna pay you. You know, in jail, cigarettes and money. I said, I'm gonna give you some cigarettes if you teach me how to write and read, because I wanted to get my GED. And he was such a good brother, and he's the author of a newspaper today. Crazy it is. I mean, he's a writer for a big newspaper in my hometown. I'm not going, because he don't like people to know he's been in prison. But he said, man, I'm gonna help you. And every day we meet at the library. I couldn't even write a complete sentence. My mother would tell me I couldn't even write her a letter. But I had to struggle. And it was times I wanted to give up. I couldn't spell. I had to struggle. But I read books I could read, and I read about Malcolm X. And Malcolm X was a black man, just like me, struggling, hard times. He told his teacher he wanted to be a lawyer. And the teacher told him, you would never be a lawyer. Our people will never hire your people won't trust you. And so Malcolm got in the streets. But Malcolm changed his life and later become one of the greatest orators in the world. He became one of the best black leaders ever was, one of the most powerful spokesmen in the world. I read about men like Les Brown, who was labeled educated retarded. And they told him he was retarded, but a teacher told him don't believe it. And Les Brown is one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. He was given up for adoption as a child. This motivated me so I could see myself being one of these guys instead of being Brother Jay from 68th Street. I ain't gonna say Brother Jay, I'm Brother Jay now. Jay Bo, the homie from 68th Street. I could see myself being a different person. And the moment I could see, I kept kicking that door. I started reading. More and more books, anything I could get. I would write places to get free books. And my friends was laughing at me. My so-called homies in the hood was laughing. Man, what is you doing? But I knew I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life. So I'm saying this to you young brothers, man. Sometimes, and it hurts sometimes, because the only person who probably told me I could be something different was my mother. My friends didn't tell me. My father, he was on drugs, he was starting to get off. But I had to figure out for myself. I was all alone. But I started seeing me in a different place, man. See, I want to tell you, young brother, son, all of you, whoever hear this, you are great. And you know you're great. I ain't telling you nothing you don't know. You see yourself in your imagination doing something really great. But the problem is, in the world around you, you don't translate how to make that reality. But I want you to do something. If you're going to write a book, you know how you write a book? You start one page at a time. If you're going to run 3 miles, you start with one step at a time. Everything takes one step. Let me tell you this. I went to school. I got my GED. Went to school to become electrical. Got my apprentice in electrical wiring. Came home. Started working in my neighborhood, talking to young brothers. Got a job for the city, working with gang members. Became an outreach gang counselor. Started my own organization. Later on, worked for the biggest nonprofit. Everybody told me they would never hire me as a convicted felon. But my instincts told me go in there and try. I got hired. First convicted felon without a college degree. I went to college. Failed algebra. I was like, man, I don't know about this. But I said, no, I can't let them stop. Got a tutor, studied every day, came back and got a B in college algebra. I'm telling you, change your mind, man, and you start one step at a time. You struggle with it. You keep going. You keep kicking that door. Don't let nobody lock you in. Don't let your circumstances lock you in. You see yourself in that great person you want to be, and you keep fighting for it. Step by step. And when bad things happen, don't look down at them bad things. Keep your eyes on that place you're trying to go. It's okay, this bad thing happened. In my hood, we call riders. You're a rider. You gonna fall down because something happened? No, you gotta ride. Get up. Shake it off. I got my eyes on where I want to go. Keep your eyes on where you want to go, little brothers. Brother Jay, you are great. You know you're great. You feel something burning inside of you. And the more you learn, the more doors are open. And just because you fail, don't have an attitude, oh, man, it's not going to be easy. Let me tell you this. If you do it easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what's hard, life will be easy. Keep going when it's hard. Keep kicking that door. Your feet hurt. Using your pain. Use your hurt. Let that fuel you. Transfer that energy into your strength. And use that to push you to get where you want to go. I love you, little brothers. Y'all stay strong, man. Brother Jay, Keon Unlimited.